Hi guys, how's it? Kia ora to my Kiwi followers. Thank you to everyone for subscribing and viewing my videos. Thank you to everyone that came out to my live earlier this morning. First half had some technical difficulties. Ended up having to change out a few things and was able to go live for the second half. And a lot of you guys came by to say hi. Really appreciate it. Thank you for subscribing, all that kind of stuff. I really do enjoy it. It makes this very fun to do every single day that I do it. And I've got a scoreline here, man. Springboks arise, victorious. 30-15, the final over Scotland. Got a couple of the key moments here, some of the key stats, and we'll go from there, guys. So usually, man, we usually have some establishment of something within usually the first 10 minutes of the game, man. It was 16 minutes before a single point was put on the board. And at the 16th minute, we get the penalty against the Springboks. Finn Russell goes for the kick and nails it up 3-0 after 16. Now, this is where I had a crash in my feed. At some point between the 16th and 28th minute, Elton Yankees nails one, and it goes up 3-3. I could not find it, even going back and trying to rewind. I can't until a couple hours later. So it was 3-3 at some point between the 16th and 28th minute. 28th minute, I get back a little bit of a decent feed there. Mambipi gets a little bit of break on the side, offload, and he gets across for his first try. Interesting tidbit that I had mentioned in one of my last videos about Mapimpi having scored against every international side that he has played, and he continued that with this game as well. We go up 8-3. Elton Yankees misses the conversion. I'll talk about that if I remember a little bit later in this. 34th minute in, Stuart Hogg, very proper fullback, gets a wide outside point, crosses in, and Finn Russell converts at the 34th minute, making it 10-8. This is what we have at halftime. Did a couple of adjustments at halftime, kind of got some things resituated, was able to go live in the second half, and a lot of you guys came and said hi, and I really do appreciate it. 43rd minute, and Mampipi, again, Mampipi with the second try of the match. Man, he is solidifying himself. I talk so much about Cheslin Colby, and I think a lot of us do, and we totally forget that our left wing is capable. Maybe he's not as flashy as Cheslin. He doesn't have that big French contract or anything, but he's capable, and he is a great, great wing, and I'm so happy to have him. And Yankees converts. It is now 15-10 at the 43rd minute. A couple minutes later, another penalty, and Yankees does a penalty and kicks, and we are up 18-10. 55th minute, another penalty. Yankees kicks, and it goes up. We go up 21-10 at the 55th minute. Not even 2 minutes later, restart. Stuart Hogg gets the ball wide to the outside again and crosses for his second of the game. Finn Russell misses the conversion. And it is now 21-15. About 6 minutes later, we get a penalty on our favor again. Pollard has come in at this point to replace Yankees and misses. Finish, and we'll go back to that. 4 minutes later, another penalty. Pollard does get hit on this one, and we go up 24-15. 2 minutes later, penalty about midfield, 48 meters out. What do we go for? We get Franston come out and do his thing. He nails it like butter, man, just right through the middle. So proud for that guy. It's great to see those older guys get out and do their thing and do it well. That's 2 weeks in a row he's hit long-range kicks, 54 and then 48 this week. He's just out there having fun. You can tell he's taking care of himself. He's out there just having fun. He knows he's at the, in his limelight, in his later years in the sport, and he's out there just having a great fun time. 7 minutes later, another penalty in favor of the Springboks, and Pollard hits. He's 2 of 3 for the day, and we end up with the final score 30-15. So let's go back to the thing I said I would go back to. So maybe some of you guys out there have been discussing a little bit online after the game, and is it, what are we going to do about this kicking situation? Because Yankees and Pollard are not consistent. Like, Pollard will have better days more consistently than Yankees. But if we're not going to be the team that scores 11 tries, we need to have solid kicking at all times. Now, why are we not letting Franz do all the kicking? Because obviously he has no problem hitting at long distance. And maybe he has an issue of hitting anything up close. Maybe that's why he doesn't do that kicking, and that's fine. And if that's his issue, I totally understand. Like, look, dude, you're providing way more than most people at your age do for their national teams. You don't see a whole lot of 35-plus-year-old men playing for their national sides. It just doesn't happen. It's a young man's sport. Guys in their 20s, that's usually your peak. Late 20s, early 30s. But you don't see a lot of guys after 35 out here still hitting. You just don't. And he's doing just fine. So maybe that's something we really need to look forward to going. Because next weekend, that's the real game. That's going to be the tough one. Is Hussein, when he gets fit, is he an option? Would Rossi and Jacques bring him back into the fold? Because I've been watching that guy the bit that I can, and he's solid. He's very consistent. He's very solid. And that's what we need. We need somebody that's solid consistently in all of this, because these guys, Pollard and Yankees, just aren't. They're not consistent, man. And I want to have some consistency. And I want to have options. That's the ABs. They have options. They've got Barrett. They've got Moanga. They've got Jordy Barrett. They've got Damian McKenzie. All of these guys can hit. And we need to have that. We need to have 4 or 5 options for kicking. Because as of right now, we only have like 2. And, maybe it's something I'm missing. Maybe, maybe somebody that's just not well, and we can get them back, and maybe they can start doing some of the kicking. We'll just see. It's definitely something that Rossi and Nenabar need to address soon, because we need to have some consistency with our kicking game going forward, especially if we're going to continue to play the game that we play, which is not scoring 11 tries, it's scoring 1 or 2 and kicking balls a lot. We need to have some solid guys that are dependable when it comes to kicking for points. So, it's a great win. Good win, 30-15. Finally, to see us kind of pull away, not just win by 3 or 4 or 5, 6 points. It's good to win by, we double up a team finally. My hat's off to Scotland. They are a hell of a team. It was really nice at the end getting on social media and seeing, like, Kebbel and Showman and all these guys, like, hugging their former teammates in South Africa. And it's like, it just shows you the level of respect that the Springboks get from a lot of teams. It's like, and then especially if you have South Africans playing for other nations, your heart's still there. You still have a piece of you there. And that's cool, and that's great, and I tip my hat to them. Stuart Hogg is great. Finn Russell's great. It's a good team. It's just they're not. They just didn't have the tools needed to shut it down. So that's 2 weeks in a row. I guess they scored 15 points, and ain't that something? But bonus time. I did watch. How could I have not watched the ABs in Ireland, man? And I think the main reason I watched this was because it seems that Ireland has had the AB's number in the last few years. I remember them beating them in Chicago. I remember All Blacks losing in Ireland, I think, a few years back. I mean, they have not consistently, but they have beat them a few times. That's probably the team that I can remember in the back of my mind outside of the Springboks that have beaten the ABs more than like once or twice. And this was an interesting one, to say the least, man. I'll just kind of bust into it. 12 minutes in, man, Cody Taylor with a high tackle gets the yellow card. There was a lot of dirty play, mostly on the All Black side. Sorry to piss off any of my Kiwi followers. It was definitely, it wasn't a pretty one at all. 13, a minute later, with the man down for the All Blacks, James Lowe gets a beautiful try off of, it was a penalty advantage, 7 faces in. And gets the ball, punches it through. Sexton, weirdly enough, misses the conversion. He's another one of those guys that he's pretty consistent, and him missing isn't something that you remember a whole lot of. In the first 20 minutes of this game, the All Blacks looked shook. Not just because of the yellow card, but you could just tell they were not Ireland would never get them in a position to feel comfortable. They were never in a position to feel comfortable at all. And that's how they beat them. 17th minute in, Ireland gets a penalty for not moving away, and Jordy Barrett kicks from like 27 meters and nails it. About the 20th minute, you see something you don't want to see for any player, but especially somebody as high profile. Beauden Barrett runs off for a HIA. I don't know the nature of it. Richie Mo'unga replaces him, and Barrett never came back into the game, so I'm going to imagine that he probably has a concussion or he failed his HIA. And he never came back into the game, and I really hope that he's okay, because that's a guy that we've all seen grow up. I mean, 100 tests, you've had to have seen that guy play at least at some point in his career. So yeah, like I said, Beauden Barrett goes out. Richie Mo'unga comes in. At the 29th minute, Tug Furlong gets a cross, but it's called off. The try is disallowed because there was an offside. So, no points there. 2 minutes later, Cody Taylor, fresh out of the sin bin. He'd been out of the sin bin a few minutes. He gets a try off of a line out, and Jordy Barrett converts. He's now 2 of 2 for kicking on the day, and it is now 10-5. At this point, 35 minutes in, interesting statistic pops up on the screen, and it's the amount of tackles each team has made. And at this point in the game, it was 143-37. The All Blacks had 143. Ireland had them playing defense a lot. And it's not something you're used to seeing with the All Blacks when you see them put up 100 points on the USA and 50 points on these guys and 60 points on these guys. You don't ever really see them have to play a crap ton of offense or defense, and Ireland was making them play defense, consistently. So it's 39th minute in. There's an offside call on the ABs in a very easily kickable spot. Sexton could have kicked for 3 and went to the locker room, but he decides to kick into touch. And then there's a, line out, and there's a knock on, so they get nothing, and that's the end of the half. We go in at halftime, 10-5. Ireland leading the All Blacks. 43rd minute in, we come back from half. You kind of see a lot of changes. They've already changed out the whole front row, I think, for the All Blacks. Kelleher gets in at the 43rd minute on a try, and Sexton unfortunately misses the conversion again. And it's now 10-10, and it's a straight tie at 43 minutes early in the second half. 7 minutes later, Caelan Doris gets a try. Colin Doris? I'm sorry, it's like Irish. Is it Colin or Caelan? Colin Doris gets a try, and Sexton finally hits one, and it's now 17-10. And at this point, you're just seeing a very, very rattled and shook All Black side. Lots of mistakes, lots of ball handling errors, lots of mental mistakes, and it's a situation that the All Blacks do not find themselves very comfortable in, because they're not in it very often, and they were playing pretty bad. 4 minutes after that try, New Zealand goes offside again, and Sexton kicks for 3, and he nails it from about 23 meters out. 5 minutes later, you're thinking of maybe a little bit of magic happens. Will Jordan, the Tasman Mako, the Christchurch Crusader boy, on the wing, gets a nice little open bit of space, gets through, and Jordy Barrett converts, and it is now 2017, and it's looking like the All Blacks might be making a run to get back in the lead. At this point, Finn Russell comes off, Joey Carberry comes in, and not even 3 minutes later, a penalty on New Zealand, and Carberry nails it, and it is now 23-17. 68th minute, Akira Iwani gets a break. There's a nice couple of phases going in. Akira Iwani gets across for the try line, but it's immediately gone to TMO, and we realize that Rico, his brother, had forward passed him the ball, so there ended up being a reset and then a penalty, and it looks like Jordy nails it, and it is now 23-20 for the All Blacks. 68 minutes in. We skip over here, and we go to the next page on my notes here. 72nd minute. Penalty on the All Blacks for not releasing, and Carberry hits one from about 48, 50 meters out, and it's good. So it's now 26-20 at the 72nd minute. 78th minute in, penalty for New Zealand for entering the ruck from the side. Like I said, these were mental mistakes. They were playing from behind. A lot of these guys probably aren't used to that. I mean, you got a lot of young guys on the All Blacks, and then even the guys that have been there a while. When you're dominating teams the way that they have for so long, you're not used to playing from behind. And like I said, Carberry hits it from 28 meters out. It's 29-20. It's the final score. It really brings me the perfect analogy for anybody living here in North America that might follow ice hockey. Okay, the 1980 Miracle team. There was a movie about it. Kurt Russell played the late Herb Brooks, one of the greatest hockey coaches in history. And they were playing the Soviet team, which was, like, by consensus, the best team. And that particular Soviet team at the time was even better because you had, like, Slava Fetisov on that. You had Makarov. You had Treshniak and goal. Like, this was the big, big team. And a lot of people were like, how did they beat them? Well, it was a lot of strategy, tactics, that kind of thing that Herb Brooks. But the main way they beat them was that when a typical team is down in hockey, when you're down in that last 2 minutes, you'll pull your goalie for the extra attacker. Russia had never trained to ever be down. They had never trained with a sixth skater, so they never pulled their goalie because they had been used to being up. That's all they knew was being up. All New Zealand knows is attacking and running up the scoreboard, and yeah, we saw the end result. They played really, really poorly, and they lost. And it sucks because, nobody ever wants to see their team lose. And, for me being a Springbok supporter, but also a fan of the All Blacks and Southern Hemisphere rugby as a whole, you look at these things and you see, okay, what needs to change? The All Blacks have a lot. It's not what you think. Hitting 100 points against the U.S. is nothing. Putting up dog whoopings on Italy is nothing. Now, beating the brakes off of Wales, that's like a big deal. Like that, Wales is no slouch of a team. But still, you cannot gauge your team on those wins. You gauge your team on those losses. The biggest time where we sit back and we dissect what the Springboks are doing wrong is when they lose. And that's when we step back and say, okay, we're not doing this right, we're not doing this right, we're not doing this right. And I'm hoping that that's what Fozzie uses this as an example of, like, hey, guys, we're not doing what we need to do correctly, and we need to fix this. And hopefully he does. You got one more game left in the tour. They are playing France. France is not going to be a slouch team to play either. Obviously, our game is the real big one next weekend. Yes, rematch. And I'm sure the English are ready for blood, and I think we're ready to deliver that one. Quick little last note. Congratulations, Argentina, breaking that losing streak. They beat Italy earlier in the day. I caught the very tail end of the match. Congratulations to them. I'm sure it feels good. I'm sure Ledesma feels like he got that monkey off of his back finally. Game currently going on right now. I think we have Portugal, and is Portugal playing? They might be playing Romania, maybe? I was just kind of checking. I didn't actually get the whole thing. But there's a couple of other games going on this weekend. Brazil is playing, that kind of thing. So get out there and check them out if you can, guys. And, yeah, I'm in the middle of watching Australia and England play. Yeah, Dave Rennie doesn't smile very often. And Eddie Jones looks like a Tasmanian Senator Palpatine from Star Wars. But, just trying to do a little scouting for next weekend, see what that Marcus Smith kid isn't too bad. I don't follow the Premiership, but there's been a lot of talk about him playing at fly half, and he looks like he's just fine. He's 22, he's a young kid still, so we'll see how that goes going forward. But I hope everyone has a great rest of the weekend and a great week going forward. I'm back still at the new job. It is tough work, but I can get through it. And as soon as we get this English lineup together, we'll do another video talking about England and the Springboks and everything else going forward. So until then, I will definitely talk to you guys all later. So cheers and have a great weekend, guys.